I love being an actor more than anything. I know it's my calling, but it doesn't mean it's an easy road. I've never taken the easy route anyway. However, if I'm being very honest, as an actor, I'm spending about 10% of my time in front of the camera. The other 90% of the time, it's the behind the scenes work. Now that can take a toll on one's mindset. So whether you're an actor or you're an artist or a creative, you know what I'm talking about. The actual time of getting your hands in the mix is small, just like an athlete. But the preparation work, that's where the real crux, the roots of the 90% come into play. So here are some tips that I use to keep an actor's mindset sharp, focused, and sane. Let's be honest, sanity. Tip number 1, mindfulness techniques. There's an emotional toll of being an actor, right? Physically, even as you're going into some of these characters and roles, but also the crickets of never hearing back, never say never, of not hearing back, of waiting, that, do they not like me? All of those things that can creep in and wonder, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing with my life? Obviously, yes. But the techniques of mindfulness, so I do a lot of meditation, I'll do a lot of breathing focus, things of journaling, keeping my emotions in check so that they're at a baseline, so that I don't all of a sudden get triggered by something and then get fired off, because that kind of energy that's being put out there is going to push away and derail any potential opportunity that comes in. So mindfulness, using techniques to ground, to center. I do some breathing exercises too. Deep breath in, exhale. I'm safe, I am connected, and then insert whatever mantra that works for you. I use a lot of money and acting opportunities flow to me with ease. And I breathe into that, and that reminds me, I'm safe, I'm good, I've got this. And it clears out any of that energy that might be coming in first. That's a hard door block to any opportunity. Tip number 2, handling rejection and criticism. Most of the rejection is silent. You send auditions, you send self-tapes, you send submissions, you reach out to emails, agents, manager, and you hear nothing. And then you hear something. So the key is to know that it's not a no, it's a not yet. Or there's so many reasons that you don't know why you never booked that job. I mean, this happens quite often where I am right there. We're on the final callbacks and then nothing. For all I know, I look like the director's ex, or my hair color is too dark to match with the other lead talent, or they decided to go with somebody who's shorter. Those are all things that are outside of my control. So knowing what I can do to learn from it, and also just submit it and then let it go. Even though I'm still thinking of some of the projects, will I hear back from? Let it go. I'm a work in progress too. Tip number 3, handling the job insecurity and financial stress. This takes some planning. We knew getting into this that there wasn't a set path, right? I have a thing with check boxes. So it's a check, 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 and equals. This isn't like this. And in fact, life isn't like that. So instead of going down and thinking, okay, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this right, I've got this, and now it's gonna happen, letting that part go. And instead enjoying this part, and this part, and this part, and creating along the way. And then a light comes in, and so there's a lot of uncertainty, but also learning to appreciate the uncertainty. And remember why I got into this in the first place. I love acting for bringing the characters to life, for being in front of the camera. So even today, I already did all of my auditions and self-tapes. Let me do a YouTube video. I might write a short film later that I was inspired by yesterday. And there are other things that are coming in. This also leads into the other side of financial stress. If there is no work coming in and there's no income, it's also about creating other streams of income that you can bounce off of. Now this can be an entirely separate video in and of itself. My recommendation is just know that you can also diversify, use those skills, right? So as actors, we have that bottom part of a resume, and also all in our casting networks, Actors Access, your skills. how can some of those skills, I'm not talking about fencing skills, how can some of those skills be used, or maybe, for additional streams of income? Right? So I have a background in advertising and graphic design. I can work in freelance design projects. I can work in other marketing projects. I've done a lot in social media world. So where we start to build out other streams that help support as we're building up the acting credentials. Tip number 4, build a community and support system around you. You're gonna need people to lean on, people who get it, people who understand that it's also tough, and that's pretty normal, that's okay. Finding yourself within an acting community or just people who are there to listen. So I'm grateful that I have quite a few friends who are also actors. Friends, very different than acquaintances. Acquaintances, they're people you know, but maybe you don't feel comfortable to open up to. Finding actor friends who will be there to listen, to get it. Those are the ones to value. And then also having a system around you. So I know if I had something very important to share, I could go to my husband and he would listen. And even though he might not 100% get the acting world, I mean, let's be honest, I don't either, he would listen and he would be there. I also have an acting coach and a life coach. They would be there to help guide me along the way when I start to feel those little pieces of doubt that creep in, or I start to wonder, is this, am I on the right path? I had an audition that came in last week for a Netflix show. And I know how to audition, but how to audition for a Netflix. I was so grateful that I had a support system around me to say, hey, how can I make this audition better? So I went to my acting coach, I said, Claire, what can we do here for this? And we worked that scene, and I felt so confident after when I submitted it. I said, you know what? Even if I don't get this job, I know I felt really good about it, and I know I left an impression that if it's not for this role, it will be for another one in the future. That's a great feeling, but it also helps having that support system around you to feel that confidence. Number 5, prioritizing self-care. It can be very, very comfortable, easy to let the self-care go and think, well, I have to do, and I'm very guilty of this. I will see a block of time on my calendar and think, okay, how else can I fill this? I'm learning and working on using that block of time to sometimes not do. Be. It's kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. Just a space of, so if I walked and got a coffee and just observed people around me, or I read a book, sat at Soho and do something, or bring my laptop, that's okay. I struggle with this, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes even just watching one of my favorite shows and looking at the script on the side, maybe that doesn't count as doing nothing. See what I mean? This is challenging. But you get the point. It's not always about the do. And I caught myself yesterday. I was in a business mindset mode and listening to some videos throughout the day and just tackling, chop and do this and reel and send it to my agent. And I reached a point in the afternoon, I'm like, oh, time to shift. So I set up my camera and did one of the auditions that I've done in the past. And I just got into the acting mode. I was like, remember why you love this. And it helped shift a lot of my energy from the doubt, from the what am I doing, to why isn't this happening, to where is this email back, into the, yes, this is why I love this. The next tip, always be ready. This one resonates deep within me because in the past I would think, okay, when this role comes and I will get ready for it. I can get bigger muscles, or I can then train to then be, or I can learn this along the way. It's about being ready. You have now opened that door up energetically for that opportunity to come in. So it's about being ready. Learn the accents in advance, learn the second language, learn the skill set of rifles and weaponry, learn the skill set of whatever it might be. I've never spoke before in my life, so for me it was very interesting in a class I used to take that I had to hold, as a character, hold a cigarette up. I'm like, I've never smoked before. So it was learning some of those skill sets. And I never smoked it, just so it's clear. Learning those things in advance so that when the opportunity comes, I'm ready. Visualizing in my mind what it's like walking onto that Netflix set, what that energy is gonna be like. Small role, big role, co-star, guest star, recurring. Any one of those, what that's gonna feel like. and then being ready for that moment to step in. This way, I already have that within me. And it also means I start attracting some of those opportunities. And the last tip on this, number 7, maintaining perspective. What is success? This is going to vary to each and every one of us. What is your definition of success? This is getting very, very, very clear on some of your goals, what that feels like, and what you're willing to do to sacrifice to get it. Now, I know that there are some sacrifices that I am personally making in order to achieve the goals that I've set out for myself. Financially, for the kind of films that I want to be working on, for the kind of series and the characters and the people I want to be working with. I moved to Los Angeles with a reason, and it wasn't to go small, it was to go huge. And I'm finally getting comfortable being able to say that and say, I want to be huge. I want to take on those juicy, meaty, deep roles that are on some of these massive channels of streaming services and on films and in theaters. And I want that reach and that success and that fame. And even when I'm saying this, it's still sometimes challenging for me to get it out, but I want that. And there's a piece of me that wants it with a reason behind it, to be able to impact people through story, these characters, as I've been impacted through film and TV series. All through my life, a quick story, when I was going through cancer, and I remember the day I was diagnosed, what did we do shortly after? As a family, we went to the movies. And this even brings tears to my eyes as I'm sharing this, because there was that catharsis, this collective feeling that I could take my mind out, be wherever we were, and I wish I remembered what the movie was. But it gave that experience of something outside of me. And I want to provide that through the characters that I get to portray. So whatever that might be, just knowing that's the level of success that I want to be at and the reason behind it. Because if it's just for me and it's just for money or fame, I need to go a little bit deeper in order for me to be fulfilled. So I encourage you to get very clear on what your goals are. Use timelines, use whatever helps you to really, really actualize and visualize it. And without getting too stuck on it, be flexible with the timeline, but be very clear in your goals. And then take the steps each and every day to allow them to happen. 1%ing your day every single day through habits, which will be in another upcoming video. So I hope you found this useful. If you're an actor, if you're an artist, or somewhere in between, and you're just a live free warrior and you're wanting some useful tips on achieving success on your own terms. My name is Sarah Curaconi. Thank you for being here, tuning in, subscribing, and I'll see you soon.